everyone, it's Jake at Jake's Metal Chat. I hope you're all well and welcome to episode 7 of my favorite death metal albums. This is the last one of this year, and then continuing on into 2024 will be all the other episodes that I have planned. So without further ado, here are the last 6 albums that I will be showing you here. So the first one is a band from Bristol, as you know, is where I'm from, formed in 2011 by some really good friends of mine, those being Gareth, who has been in a lot of bands himself over the years. Of course, one being Unknown Fear, Will from Dies Holocaustum, was in a band called Chewing Glass Collective, grindcore, if you are into your grindcore, and Cyber Void. And of course, our fallen brother Jake was one of the many powerhouses, along with Gareth, in this band. They released 2 albums, the first one being Futile Creation in 2014. The one I'm going to show you is from 2019. This is Body Harvest and Parasitic Slavery. And this cover is absolutely sick, and holy shit, what an album. From start to finish, it's just intense brutality. Also, get the CD out there and you find the rest of the guys. So we've got Will, Gareth, Jake, and Dan. Dan, just a crazy ass bass player. If you ever seen him in another band called Mortis Head, yeah, you know how intense he is. Will's in a Dies Holocaustum. Gareth has been in tons of other bands. One was called Ageless Oblivion. Let me just check that. He did play in that band for a while because I did see him play a couple of times live. Also, our fallen brother there, Jake. We had a memorial show for him not too long ago now on Saturday. Last Saturday, and what a show it was. It was a special night for a special human being. And of course, to give a shout out to a charity that we all support, but he was a big advocate for it, the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Do awesome work. Love you guys. Love Jake. Miss you every day. He did leave behind a massive legacy of brutality, along with all the bands he in. Hate Mechanism was the band that I first saw him in and first time I ever met him. And no matter what he touched, it just turned to absolute pure heaviness. And this album is a massive testament to that. They did split up in 2022, and of course, that is the year he did pass away. But like I said before, he left behind a massive legacy, and he has so many mates that loved him. A lot of us saw Body Harvest live, and if you ever got a chance to see this band live, then yeah, you know how great, how excellent they were live. And this album is a massive testament to that. The first one, Futile Creation, also an excellent, intense, heavy album. This just topped it by like 20. Is that ridiculous? Just from start to finish. Of course, my favorite tracks being one of them, The Prophet and Hierarchy of Grief, Consumed by Tyrants. Those are like 3 of my favorites on this album, but the whole album itself just absolutely sick. And I know I use that word a lot, absolutely, but it's a good word. So do check out this band. Do please. They're just some intense, nasty, pure, disgusting death metal. Body Harvest and Parasitic Slavery. Now another band that Gareth was in, of course, of Body Harvest. This is a band that is international. So one half of one half is Sweden, one half is the UK. An animator of mine named Johnny, who I've had as a guest on here. They formed in 2013, disbanded in 2021. They only ever released, I believe, 3 albums, and I know I have at least 2 of them. One of them I'm going to show you now. This is their 2015 release. This is Ashcloud and Abandon All Light. Now, this is some really nasty Swedish death metal here. Like I said, it's Swedish death metal, but it's Swedish and UK, so it's a great mix of the both, but it's more Swedish than anything because you get that iconic HM2. You've got the guys on the back here. I think it was mainly their band, I'm not sure. Like they were like the main 2 behind the band. As I am looking here, yeah, main 2 behind the band. The other 2 albums that they got, one that was a year later, Children of the Chainsaw, and then Kingdom of the Damned, which followed in. So Children of the Chainsaw 2016, Kingdom of the Damned 2017. Then after that, didn't do much else. They did 2 demos before that, Consumed by Darkness and Soul Consumer. But I know I've said this before, if you love your Swedish death metal, you're going to love these guys. Let's get the booklet out so you can see the artwork a bit more, because obviously new camera, light reflecting off it, as you can see there. There you go. Some lyrics. And a picture of the band. Of course, we got Gareth there again, right there. And Johnny, who is in so many bands. Syndrome was the first band I ever saw him in, and he also is in Heads for the Dead. Another great band there. And I forgot to show the booklet for Body Harvest as well. And get some of the lyrics up here. And there you go. Just thought I do that as well. Just thinking since I just showed the booklet for that one. I'll get up Johnny actually, because he does have so many bands. You'll know his name, Johnny Peterson. I think I'm saying it right. Yeah, Peterson. Yeah, I'm gonna try again. So yeah, Heads for the Dead, Henry Kane, of course, Poltergeist, Human Harvest, which was with another mate of mine. She goes by Madame Barrel on stage for Basement Torture Killings. You'll know her. People who know her will know her real name, but I'm going to use a stage name. Womb Bath is the main band he's in all time. Of course, I saw them London, and then when did I see him again? I saw him in Cardiff, and then in Sweden for Scandinavia Death Festival. Yeah, anything Johnny touches as well, it's just yes, 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 and yes. And also guest vocal wise, Creeping Flesh, Cropsy Maniac, House by the Cemetery, Just Before Dawn, No More Room in Hell, and so on and so forth. Of course, Human Harvest. Are still currently going, but I haven't heard anything from these guys as of yet. Oh, wait, they do have 2 albums out. Need to listen to them. Of course, the friend I'm on about is Millie, of course, Basement Torture Killings. And John, who plays drums in Woundbath, also played drums in Body Harvest, also in the other band that I just mentioned. But if you look, like I said, you love Swedish death metal, you love that HM2 sound, this has it throughout. Of course, I'm trying to think which song it is. That I think it might be the title track that is my favorite. Of course. What else? And if you like Johnny's bands in general and you've not heard Ashcloud, then do check them out because they're excellent. And this is an excellent album. Their debut's really cool. Their second album's really good as well. But for those who just like underground heaviness, this is for you. Ashcloud and Abandon All Light. Right, on to another band all the way from Belgium, and I have seen these guys only once because they played the Griffin. Formed in 2013. Trying to think the best way to describe them. But well, these guys also have that HM2 sound in their music, and it fits really well. And the vocalist, a lot of people have pretty much compared him to another well-known vocalist in a well-known death metal band. But here's the band that I'm going to show. This is Carnation, and this is a debut, the 2018 debut, Chapter of Abhorrence, or Chapter of Abhorrence. Now, this is some filthy stuff as well. I like this band. Of course, got a band picture on the CD. There you are. And oh, if I get the book out, goes like that. Now, when I look at this cover, obviously some bits of it remind me of Transcend the Rubicon, because I do believe it, and I might have gotten this totally wrong. I'm thinking I might have gotten this wrong. Let me just get it up. Artwork, cover art. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, I was thinking it was Dan Seagrave, but it's very Dan Seagrave-esque. His sole name, I'm not going to try and say his name, but his last name is Castellano. An artist from Spain. Done a lot of artwork for bands such as Evolved, really great, brutal Spanish death metal. They're more death metal, but they're brutal. Body Farm, of course, Carnation, Coffins from Japan. Love that band. Trying to think as well. Other bands that he's done for, but like I said, it's very Dan Seagrave-esque artwork. Interment from Sweden, another great band as well. And countless others. Rebel in Flesh from Germany, on that HM2 band. You know, use that HM2 pedal. Yeah, there's lyrics in here, all in our band picture. Now you're probably thinking as well, what a lot of you will know, like, yeah, I know which vocalist you're on about, but everyone's thinking who you're on about. It's like, well, like I said, let me just get the books back in here. I can't remember if there was anything. No, that's cool though. It's Swedish sounding death metal, but the vocalist, which I'm gonna get his name up in a minute. Where is he? Simon. His vocals sound very similar or exactly like Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse. It's basically if Cannibal Corpse did Swedish death metal, but that's what I said when I was watching a show of Top Rock Radio, the Jim Bims on Top Rock Radio. It's basically Swedish death metal with, you know, is well, so for Simon doing Corpse Grinder vocals and Swedish style death metal. I'm trying to think of another way to describe it, but that is basically, if someone was to say that, is like it's that, but another way I would describe it, it's just they're just an excellent band. Also, Seasons of Mist, at least this. Ashcloud, Extreme Music, forgot to show that. Of course, that's Dave Rotten of Evolved's label. And Comatose Music was the one that released Body Harvest's album. Forgot to show that. But yeah, really great album. Of course, favorite tracks on here: Hellfire, the title track itself, Disciples of Bloodlust, Sermon of the Dead. The whole album itself is just sick, disgusting death metal. And I know some people, I mean, I heard a review of this album saying that they didn't like the Corpse Grinder-esque type of vocals. I don't mind it because I still like Cannibal Corpse. They were the main death metal band that got me into death metal in the first place. So I'm still got that place from there. But my death metal uh list has grown exponentially since then to bands like this and various other bands that I'm going to show you in future episodes of my favorite death metal albums. So, Carnation and Chapter of Abhorrence. Do check this band out if you haven't yet. Now, I just mentioned the band that everyone compares Simon's vocals to, but obviously the one I'm going to show you had the original vocalist. Obviously, you know these guys. Just because I didn't mention where Carnation formed 2013. This band formed in 1988, originally started in Buffalo, New York, but now are in Tampa, Florida. You're gonna know this band. I gone with their 1994 album because it's my favorite one from the era of their first vocalist. Of course, mentioning Chris Barnes. This is Cannibal Corpse and The Bleeding. This is my favorite one from the Chris Barnes era. Corpse Grinder, I'm trying to think which one I like the most out of that. Vile's a really good album. Probably Visceration, Plague. Might change now and then, but of course, my favorite one from the Chris Barnes era is this one. Of course, got the back there, released by another well-known label, Metal Blade. This is a re-release, of course, because it's got a bonus track, The Exorcist, which was from their EP they did in between Tombs and the Mutilated and this one. And of course, a music video of one of their songs, Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead. Of course, this was the first one to feature Rob Barrett from on guitar here. Of course, he's in Solstice and he's in another band here that I'll be showing, which is what we did the last one I show you, and I'll let you get on your way. Of course, like I said, it's a re-release because you got lyrics, the artwork there, but obviously for the cover itself, they only use like the torso part of this individual. And I believe, yep, and picture right there. Of course, we've got Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes, Rob Barrett, Alex Webster, Jack Owen, and Paul. And I'm going to try and say his name. Mazukovic. I'm not going to try. I tried saying it before and I'm pretty sure I messed it up. Of course, there's a lot of great songs there. I've mentioned Staring Through the Eyes. That is one of my favorites. The whole album itself is intense, but obviously the first three songs are my favorites, just because how brutal intense they are. But obviously the first song I ever heard by Cannibal Corpse when I was getting into them was actually Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead, but at first didn't like it. Then heard Hammer Smash Face from Tomb of the Mutilated, and I heard that again. I was like, really like this one. Of course, that's not the original logo because Chris Barnes came up with the original logo and Alex Webster came up with the name, pretty much described it as an undead zombie. Now, undead zombie, let me just get a Carnation because I was going to say it, similar artist. What did Alex Webster say? Alex Webster came up with the name for the band, describing a cannibal corpse as an undead corpse that's going to eat you, basically, on the Centuries of Torment documentary. Of course, this is the band that got me into death metal, and I found Obituary and Suffocation and Morbid Angel and Death. And obviously it all went a little bit further from there, one of them being Massacre right there, and the other one being Grave just there. Yeah, because my death metal list has changed quite a lot, but I still credit these guys as the first death metal band that got me into the genre. And of course, this is my favorite album, and I know I've already said it, favorite one from the Chris Bonds era. It's brutal, it's intense, and you know, it's just a really cool album. I'll put this on when I actually have time to just chill out because I'm always doing stuff. So yeah, so Cannibal Corpse and The Bleeding. Now, another band that formed in the year of 1988 from Vienna, Austria. Let's get that coffee in. Always be yourself, unless you're a Viking, always be a Viking. I should have cut off by about 1, 2 o'clock, but there you go. So yeah, formed in 1988 from Vienna, Austria. One of my favorite bands from that country. Found out about these guys when I was trying to find more death metal bands, like how many more death metal bands are there? And I looked and I found these guys. I've gone with their debut here. Of course, I got all of them on CD, and one of the CDs is on vinyl in there. Now, this may be a band that no one knows about it because obviously I just showed Body Harvest and Ashcloud and Carnation, and some people like don't know them. I'll check them out. But then I showed Cannibal Corpse. Maybe no one knew who they were or knew the name, just haven't checked them out. This one, probably a bit of both, not checked them out or didn't know who they were. So this is Pungent Stench and their 1990 debut. For God, your soul, for me, your flesh. And they always had covers with body parts on it, of course, because it's Pungent Stench. Of course, there's a re-release because it's got the lyrics and that there. And CD's there. Back of the cover's that. Of course, original album at the original album at the top, and then the remix, remastered, and partly re-recorded 1993 version. And of course, bonus tracks of them live on the 10th of November 1989 in Vienna. And of course, other bands that I like that are very underground as well: Disharmonic Orchestra and Disastrous Murmur. But I think these guys were the very first ones to be playing death metal in their country. Could be wrong, or I'm completely right, not sure. Now, I don't know how to really describe these guys. They're just weird ass death metal because they're using, like, obviously they got the brutal riffs and stuff, but like sort of change it up. Sometimes sometimes it's like it's fast, it's slow, it's the guitar riffs go from just doing like the chuggy death metal to weird rocky type of riffage, but it works. It works definitely. Again, hence why I do these videos, because a lot of people might not know all these death metal bands. No one might know who this band is because they might have just stuck with, like, you know, Cannibal Corpse and the Obituary and Morbid Angel, and all excellent bands. But there's so much more death metal out there, and these guys are one of those many bands I do think got overlooked quite a lot back in the day. And I've shown a lot of bands like that, and that's why I show them in video series such as this. So definitely check out this band. Of course, like I said, formed in '88, and there's very many other bands that I will be talking about on this series and my Metal Vault series as well that would have formed that year as well. But once again, this is Pungent Stench. For God, your soul, for me, your flesh. Crazy ass, weird ass, but awesome death metal. Now, last band, also from Buffalo, New York, but moved to Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Formed in 1987. Of course, found these guys when I was finding more death metal bands to listen to, get into, and obviously I got into these guys. I only got to see them once in 2015, and then of course 3 years after that, the vocalist of this band passed away sadly. Of course, I'm on about Brett Hoffman, one of my favorite vocalists in death metal. Because with Pungent Stench, it wasn't, the low guttural stuff. It was growly, but you could understand but you could hear each word of the lyrics. With Brett Hoffman, it was the same because his vocals were more on the thrashier side. Of course, I'm on about Malevolent Creation. This is a 1992 album and my favorite one, Retribution. And there's a reason why this is my favorite. It's just intense from start to finish. I know I use intense, but it is intense. And it's hard hitting stuff. Of course, down the bottom it says Road Racer there. But there, Roadrunner. So I think Road Racer was the name for Roadrunner in the time. So, of course, there's Brett himself with that's Jason, Rob, Phil, and one of my favorite drummers, Alex Marquez. Now let's get the book out so you can see the artwork, see the band a bit more. And this is as old school as you can get. Same with a lot of albums that just show the lyrics, and there you go, just the lyrics. And the CD is really cool as well. Got a bit of black and some pink circling it. Really cool there. And I've mentioned favorite logos, but that's one of my favorites as well. Really cool death metal. Just cover it. Yeah, really cool death metal. Like I said, Brett Hoffman's vocals are a bit more on the harsher side. Like you hear like death thrash metal bands, but there are death metal bands that don't do like gutturals, low gutturals, growls and stuff. This is more in between that and screaming. The guitar work from both Rob and Phil is excellent. Of course, on the song Coronation of Our Domain, which is the first song I ever heard from these guys, and that's what got me hooked on them, has a guest guitar solo from James Murphy. Those who are in the death metal scene, everyone who has been in the death metal scene for a long time knows who James Murphy is. He's been in Death, Obituary, Cancer, has formed his own band, Disincarnate, and using Testament, and so many different bands. Love to actually see the guy live, just shredding it up. Love the cover, of course, Dan Seagrave artwork. Absolutely, I love Dan Seagrave's artwork. Like I mentioned, Carnation, that was a very Dan Seagrave-esque type of artwork. And yeah, Dan Seagrave. I know it's Dan Seagrave, but I just wanted to see his name like, yep, Dan Seagrave. Really cool. And when I first saw it, I just saw this, the devil, the big giant demon, but then you look further there and there's a person right there. But yeah, this album just is excellent. I mentioned excellent before, but it's awesome. It's a timeless classic. Like there's so many albums I've said before, because my favorite songs being Either the Apocalypse, Systematic Execution, Slaughter of Innocents, Coronation of Our Domain, and Monster. But I love all the songs, but if I was going to pick my favorites, it'd be those ones specifically. I love Monster because it's just fast, intense, and and Eve the Apocalypse has that the drum sound from the keyboards, that dun dun, and then that ambient sound, and then that little dun dun, that bit. Just for do those sounds, but it's just listen to that. Listen to the whole album, or if you just want to listen to that song because you like that ambient sound, it's definitely works for the start of the song, definitely. And the whole album itself is worth your time. And once again, and before I put this album down and say goodbye, rest in peace, Brett Hoffman. You left like with Jake, he left a massive legacy of brutality behind. And if I'm gonna say my favorite performance of Brett Hoffman's, it would be this album, definitely. Also, Ten Commandments, the debut, also an awesome, excellent, phenomenal album. But this is my all-time favorite by theirs. Malevolent Creation and Retribution. And that is it for episode 7 of my favorite death metal albums. Of course, it's the last one of this year. I will be recording my last episode of my Metal Vault today as well. It's Wednesday. Of course, this video will be going out today because all my favorite death metal album videos go out on the Wednesday. My Metal Vault episode, the next one I'm doing, will be out on the Saturday, and then I'm taking a break because I don't know if I'm going to do my end of year video. I might, I don't know, but I am going to do a collection update, maybe just end with that, and then do my favorite albums of this year, next year, once I got more favorites of mine that I've listened to so far. So again, thank you for all the support. Thank you for a couple of new subscribers that have subscribed recently. For those commenting on my videos, sharing them around, very much appreciated. I've been Jake and Jake's Metal Chat. Keep that banner metal on high. See you in my next My Metal Vault video, and have a great rest of your day.